If you are looking for the perfect place to camp under the night sky in the national parks, then today is your day because I want to walk you through my favorite national park campgrounds. I cannot wait for you to get to some of these beautiful places. My name is Ash. I'm a former park ranger and the founder of Dirt in My Shoes. I'm also a former full-time RVer. We actually did that for 3 years. We took our travel trailer through many of the national parks in this country, and we have spent a lot of time camping in these campgrounds. And so I'm really excited to show you around and to share some of my favorite campgrounds with you. So I have chosen 5 that I'm going to talk about in this video, kind of my top 5, the ones that stand out as just incredibly unique. And I want to talk about those and then add in a few extras as well. These campgrounds are in no real order. They're just ones that I really love. So I first want to jump into the South Beach Campground at Olympic National Park in Washington. This campground is so cool because you're actually camping pretty much right on the ocean. You get to be lulled to sleep by ocean waves. It's just absolutely beautiful to be in this situation while you're camping. So this one ranks really high on my list because it's a really unique experience and the views just can't be beat. Now, the thing about South Beach, though, is that there aren't really any amenities here. You do have some toilets, but no drinking water. And so just keep that in mind. It is a more rustic experience. I think it adds to the experience because it's a smaller campground. There's just not as much volume. It's not as busy. And so I really like that. Plus just being on the edge of the ocean is really cool. But if you are looking for more amenities, if you want a less rustic campground, then nearby Claylock Campground is another good option. This one is a little bit further north and it's just next to more amenities. You've got like the lodge right there with restaurants. You've got drinking water, stuff like that. So both really great options, but I do tend to favor South Beach over Claylock just because I like how rustic it feels. Campground number 2, you probably have not heard of this one, and that's why I'm so excited to introduce you to it. But this is the Twin Peaks Campground in Oregon Pipe Cactus National Monument. Oregon Pipe Cactus, it's at the bottom of Arizona. It's a national monument, so it's smaller, but I definitely wanted to add in a national monument experience to this list because in my experience, camping in these national monuments can be really, really cool. It's usually less competitive. You're in an area that a lot of people just don't even know about. I mean, how many of you have heard of Oregon Pipe Cactus? So it's a really cool area, but the campground itself is beautiful. It's really nicely laid out. It's really good for larger RVs, nice and flat. You've got just some really great walking trails, some really good hiking right there. You've got the scenic drive you can do just, down the street, so it's not very far. And you're in this beautiful desert environment with gorgeous sunsets, a lot of quiet solitude, which is so nice. And so this campground just really is at the top of my list for a cool experience that you can have without all the crowds. If you're looking for something similar in a national park versus a national monument, you can go to nearby Saguaro National Park. This is a campground. It's called the Gilbert Ray Campground. And we love staying at Gilbert Ray when we're at Saguaro. So that's a really good option too if you're looking for a similar experience as what you'll get in the Twin Peaks Campground of Oregon Pipe Cactus. Number 3 is the Mammoth Campground in Yellowstone, with an asterisk. I love this campground in the fall specifically, and that's because this area of Yellowstone is overrun by elk during the fall months. And when you're camping in this campground, a lot of times you'll have those elk just right nearby. They're walking through, they're hanging out. It's really cool. But my favorite thing about it is that in the evenings, when everything quiets down, all the crowds leave the area and you're just there camping, you can hear those elk bugle, and it's just really haunting and beautiful and a really, really cool experience that you can have in Yellowstone. We like being in the top loop of this campground. There's a little bit more privacy, some bigger sites for our trailer, and you're closer to where the elk like to hang out. So that's where we aim to be typically. The other thing that's really nice about the Mammoth Campground is that you're pretty close to the Lamar Valley, and the Lamar Valley is the best place to see wildlife in Yellowstone. So if a big part of your Yellowstone experience is that you're hoping to see big animals like grizzlies and wolves and buffalo and all that, then, and plus the elk, which I already mentioned, then being up in this northern area of Yellowstone is where you're going to want to be, at least for a day or two. So I like the Mammoth Campground because I feel like it puts me in the perfect place to see all of these big animals that I'm hoping to see when I'm in Yellowstone. A good alternative to this one, and something that a lot of people don't get to experience when they're in Yellowstone, is some of the smaller campgrounds that are more in this northern area as well. And so you've got like Pebble Creek and Slough Creek. These ones are really popular for wildlife. In fact, Slough Creek actually has like a wolf pack that likes to hang out right in that area. And so that's really cool. Those campgrounds are also really popular with fishermen because you're right on the rivers to fish. And so again, just if you're looking for a quieter experience in Yellowstone, if you're hoping to see a lot of wildlife while you're there, then being in this northern area is a really good idea, at least for a night or two. Okay, so number 4, we are going to a national park that a lot of people have never visited. It's Lassen Volcanic National Park in California. And there's a campground there called Manzanita Lake that is one of our favorite places to go as a family. This campground is fairly large. You've got a lot of different options. So you can tent camp, you can bring a trailer or an RV. They also have cabins that you can stay in. But overall, what I like about this campground is, first, it's in a national park that just is kind of off the beaten path already. A lot of people don't go there, don't know what to expect, or don't even know it exists. And so that's a point in its favor. But also, this campground has more of a summer camp type of vibe. You're right on Manzanita Lake, and so it's easy to go canoeing or kayaking or paddle boarding right down there. And this lake has gorgeous views of Lassen Peak, the volcano that this national park is named after. And so it's a really cool experience that way. Plus, you're tucked into the forest. You've got beautiful trees and paths you can walk and things like that. And then they have like a little ice cream shop and a little souvenir shop, and it's just really fun. Everybody's there enjoying the lake and camping out under the stars, and you get a little bit more solitude because you're in a smaller national park. And it's just one of those places that it's really nostalgic. It feels like you've been transported back in time. Life is simpler, and it's really relaxing to stay here. And campground number 5 is in Capitol Reef National Park, Utah. You can see I'm kind of favoring some of these smaller parks here, but Capitol Reef, a lot of people, it's an afterthought for them. They want to go see Zion or they want to go see Arches, and Capitol Reef is kind of right there in the middle. So it's a little bit lesser known. It's a little bit quieter. But their campground at Capitol Reef, the Fruita campground, is really beautiful. You're tucked into the trees. The Fruita area is surrounded in orchards. As part of the history of this park, these orchards were planted by the pioneers who settled this area, and you get to camp right among the trees. And so the campground has really nice grassy spots, big trees, just short walks over to the orchards. If you go during the late summer and fall, you can pick fruit from the orchards, which is really cool. If you're there any other time, then you have the Gifford House right there within walking distance, and they sell some of the most delicious pies. If you've watched anything else about Capitol Reef, you know that I love these pies. The strawberry rhubarb is my favorite. So you can walk right over to the pies from your campsite, which is really convenient. The other thing that's really cool about this campground is that you've got a couple of really nice hiking trails that just leave right from here. So you can hike the Cohab Canyon Trail, which is beautiful. I really like going up in there. You also can do the Fremont River Trail, which stays flat along the river for a while if you want just a nice stroll, or you can continue on and start gaining some elevation up to the higher viewpoints. But either way, you're just right in the center of Capitol Reef. You've got a lot of really cool things to do around you, and the campground itself is beautiful. Okay, so those are my top 5. Hopefully it gives you some new ideas that you haven't had before. I have a couple more categories, though, that I want to touch on for camping in the national parks. So from my camping experience, one of the most unique camping experiences that I've ever had in a national park is at Glacier Bay National Park up in Alaska. Asterisk, I actually was a park ranger here, and so I'm really familiar with this park. It's very dear to me. I love this area. But the campground here is really unique. So if you're looking for a cool experience that you might not have anywhere else, this is a great place to start. How the campground works is it's actually, you can't drive to your site. You have to bring all of your gear in, and they have wheelbarrows you can use to get it back into your site. And you're right on the ocean. And during the summer months in Glacier Bay, the humpback whales, the orcas, the otters, all of these come through this area. And so what's magical about it is that as you're laying awake in your tent, you can hear the humpback whales out in the ocean, which I just think, oh my gosh, like where else can you have that experience listening to whales while you try to go to sleep? And so that's really cool. And you can explore the beach area there. There's a lot of tide pooling. You can fish for salmon in the river right there, which is really cool. You have all sorts of animals around you, bears, moose, anything like that. It's just a really, really magical place. Another thing I want to talk about is the most elusive national park campgrounds, the ones that are the hardest to get reservations in, because based on my experience of just traveling around the country going to these campgrounds, there definitely are some that are harder than others. And so on my list, that would be anything really in Yosemite Valley, in Yosemite National Park, California. That is very, very hard to get campsites there. If you're in a tent, you'll have a much better luck than if you're trying to do a larger site for a trailer. But those have been so elusive for me and a lot of other people trying to get those. They're just so competitive that they get snatched up within seconds of being released. The other park that I feel like can be pretty elusive as far as trying to get a site is Glacier National Park in Montana. Again, these campsites typically will get snatched up within the first minute or so of being released, sometimes faster. There's been times when I have tried to get a campsite in Glacier and I've had to try like 5 days in a row trying to get something because everything gets snatched up within literally 10 seconds. So it's really crazy. If you can get a campsite reservation in Glacier, consider yourself very, very fortunate. And one more category, what are my bucket list campgrounds? Ones that I haven't been to yet, but that I really hope to. Ones that are just like super high on my list, just to give you some ideas of maybe some really cool experiences you might want to have. And both of these campgrounds I'm going to mention are in Alaska. Alaska is just on a level of its own. I mean, it's an incredible experience to be able to camp there, and I've been very fortunate to be able to spend a lot of time in Alaska, both as a park ranger and just for fun. But where I would love to camp first, when Denali opens their park road again, which has been under construction for a while, getting out to the Wonder Lake campground has always been a really big one on my list. I have camped all through Denali. I have backpacked through Denali, but I've actually never stayed at that campground. So go look it up if you're looking for a really cool experience to have in Denali National Park. That one is very high on my list. The other takes us down to Katmai National Park, to Brooks Camp. This is the national park where all of those grizzlies hang out at the waterfall and catch the salmon. And I really want to stay in Brooks Camp. This campground is surrounded by electric fence so that it's a little bit safer being in an area with so many bears. And it's very hard to get reservations here because everybody wants to camp here. So that one is on my list. I hope to make it to Katmai soon so that I can stay in that campground. I have so much information about a lot of these parks on my website, dirtandmyshoes.com. So be sure to click over there if you want to start planning your vacation to a national park. I also have a master reservation list. This is free, but it shows every national park in the country, what the lodging options are, what time to make those reservations, how to make those reservations, links to make those reservations. So those are available for every national park here in this list, and that list is free. So I will put the link in the video description below so that you can go pick that up if you want help making reservations in any of these places. I can't wait for you to get out into the national parks, especially in some of my favorite campgrounds. I hope that you have a great vacation, and don't forget to subscribe for even more national park content.